Manchester United 3, Liverpool 2, Champions League secured double over Liverpool completed. Football is a funny game, I will say. The first half was, totally us. We scored 2 goals. The second goal, quite controversial, but, against Liverpool, we don't really care. Probably should have definitely been called a handball. Wasn't called a handball. Maybe a bit fortunate there for us. But, the first half, totally us. Liverpool had nothing. They looked like a mess. They didn't really have any chances. We had the best chances. We were running the game. And then we go into halftime and we come back out and we start off the second half in the worst possible way you could ever start, a half of football. And Ahmad comes in, and we talked about it. He hasn't been having a great season. He seems low on confidence. That move he does is, in my opinion, a low confidence move. He just got on. Probably wasn't ready for the speed of the game, really. Gets the ball, sort of panics, and throws it in an awfully ridiculous, decision and spot to throw the ball into. Gives it to Liverpool, which basically gives them, a counterattack advantage in numbers. And Szoboszlai, scoring an excellent, beautiful goal, really. But it was gifted on a silver platter to them. Still a bit of work to do there. But he puts it away. And just like that, you have the worst possible start. 2-0 is probably the worst scoreline you could have in football. That's what we had. I'm sitting there and I'm saying, we need to kill this game. We need to kill them. We don't kill games. We can't, they've been awful, but you let up a goal like we did and it's game on. And, this is exactly what happened. And then we sort of started to capitulate and we gifted them another goal. I don't know if we were so bored by what was going on in the first half that we felt the need to make it a bit more interesting and help them out because, if it wasn't for us, they weren't going to score a goal. We threw away our clean sheet in the match, but I know this is going quite the negative route, but we got to be real and we need to talk about it because listen, we're a bit fortunate, and obviously I'm unhappy that we threw away that lead. That should never have happened, but our wonder kid, our local lad, our Liverpool killer, because that's what he is. Liverpool killer steps up to the plate. He's had a very sort of up and down or down and up season. And that was his first goal this season. Let's put that into context. That's his first goal this season. And obviously his resurgence, coming back into the team and doing his thing since Michael Carrick has come in, signing a new contract this week. And, you couldn't write the story any better for the kid to come up with basically what I would say it's a wonder goal. It's a superb goal. And I found it a bit ironic as well because Szoboszlai scored his goal by passing it into the bottom of the net. It was a pass, the goal that Szoboszlai scored. And Kobbie Mainoo basically was like, I see your pass and I raise you one pass. And he did his own version and passed it into the corner and gave us the lead. And then, we were able to hold out and get the 3 points. And now we got Champions League. We did the double over Liverpool. Let's go. I'm really happy that we were able to figure it out. And we did keep the record alive, by the way. I don't know how long it's been. It's a long time, long time. But we have never lost a match leading at Old Trafford going into halftime, and that record has stayed alive as well. So, listen, we're going to break it down a lot more. We're going to get to your thoughts, opinions, comments. We'll get to the post-match thoughts, comments, and, stuff that comes out after the match. Please make sure you are smashing the like button, everybody. Smash a like for getting back into the Champions League. Smash a like for the 3 points today. Smash a like for Kobbie Mainoo scoring the winner. Hope everybody is doing well. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed the content, make sure you subscribe and hitting the notification bell icon. But without further ado, let's get to the chat, to the most important people, because I want to hear from you guys. Sadiq was in here early. He said, where's the possession in the game? Why can't we make simple passes under Carrick? I have an answer to that, but we'll circle back to it. Box says, yo, Eric, great win. What's up, Box? What's up, man? Typical United performance, Jekyll and Hyde. We'll get into that as well. I wanted to say that as well. Andresito says, Kobe, LFG, let's go. Yep. Renosa says, stopping in for the pre-nap, post-match convo. Ahmad is the Delo of the attack. He needs to snap out of it. Well, listen, he hasn't had a great season. We talked about it, I think, about a show or two ago. We said, compare this season to the season before. He's definitely gone down, this season. So it's a bit unfortunate. He seems like, out of all the players that we got, he's sort of the one that's he hasn't improved. He's had a worse season. So, I feel a bit bad about it. But listen, this season's coming to a close. He's got to try to do his best to just whatever matches we got, put in the best performance he's got. And then after the season's over, he's got to put it behind him and come new again and come fresh and, have a better season next season. That's really all he could do about it right now, Ray says, just give Carrick the job right now. Well, I guess that's, it is. Listen, I think it's going in that direction again. I mean, Sesko coming off, I felt like we lost a little bit with Sesko coming off. I do believe Sesko came off because of fitness concerns wise. I don't believe that was a tactical thing. I mean, I think we lost a bit. I think that hurt us a bit in the second half as well when we started. Sesko he scored that weird goal, but Sesko was doing the job that, was quite impactful. He was, big body, big guy, holding up the ball in key areas, and able to, help link the attack. And I felt like we were sort of missing that in the second half. We lost a little bit of something up there, having Mbeumo having to go into, the striker role. And obviously when Mbeumo is going to be there, he is going to play a little bit different. He's not going to be able to do the things that Sesko does, and we're not going to be able to play in sort of the same way that we play when Sesko is there. I think Mbeumo had an improved game, compared to as of sort of recently. Matheus Cunha was very welcomed addition back. You saw the fire, you saw the passion, you saw, the intensity from loads of players, but he was one that stuck out a little bit extra to me. Just going crazy and trying to get to the ball, and you could see it meant I think a little bit extra to him, maybe to some other players, but Renos is saying also, I've been trying to give him a chance, hoping he'd switch up, but Carrick dresses like that homeless person who was gifted a suit coat to keep warm. Well, I will say is I think Carrick needs a little bit of a longer shirt, because when he goes like this, you can see he's wearing some Calvin Klein underwear. So Carrick must have Calvin Klein sponsorship as well, says Fox. There you go. See, he caught on to that too. Ray says Kobe goes from 0 to hero in 2 months. And listen, but we did talk about this once upon a time, and it is football. I mean, you could be on top of the world 1 minute, you could, not be at the other time. You could be sort of killing it, and listen, you're playing. And things are good, and and then all of a sudden things aren't so good, and maybe you're not playing as much, and we've sort of seen it go from good to bad and back to good, because I mean, he was at a point at one time where he was considered an important part of the team, and then under this season under Ruben, he wasn't considered important no more. And then with Ruben going and Carrick coming back in, his fortunes have turned around. So, it is football, but it does happen quite a lot. And, I wasn't always too concerned with Kobe under there, because I always felt like, listen, we all know that there's a player in there. And I just felt like at the period he had to fight through. I don't know what Ruben's issue was with with Kobe per se, particularly. I think maybe again, I don't think it was per se personal. I think he really just was making the choice he felt was best, whether that was the correct choice or not. Different story, but I never felt like he was actually, the club weren't going to let him leave. Really, it was going to be up to him. But all of that is irrelevant now because we got a different manager, and he's helped him come back into the fold. He's helped him, I think, improve his game. I think Mainoo has benefited a lot with Michael Carrick. I mean, Michael Carrick was a brilliant midfielder and footballer, legend of the football club. And I think, for somebody like Kobe at his age that plays basically the same position, I think he's picked up a lot from Michael Carrick, and you could see him coming back into the fold and translating onto the pitch. Always great to beat the Scousers. Yes, it's always a good day. It's always a good day to beat the Scousers. We barely won with very little possession. Listen, and I'll answer your critique on the possession thing, Sadiq. Listen, okay, we barely won, but I would argue that, listen, we also, it was all us. It was all us. Liverpool scored 2 goals because of us. They were never gonna score 2 goals if it wasn't for us. So, it was solely on us. We made the mistakes. We took our foot off of the pedal like we've been doing, but these are our problems. We can fix these problems. It had nothing to do with Liverpool's ability. It had nothing to do with Liverpool's class. And the possession thing, I'll tell you this right now. We are not a team, quite clearly, that can play with possession. Okay? We can't do it. We don't have the players to do it. I think if you look back to Ruben, we tried to do it. If you look back to the parts under Erik ten Hag, we tried to do it, and we were terrible at it, and we suffered because of it. And we are not doing that. Michael Carrick has come in my opinion, and like many of the fans were asking, play to the players' strengths. We are playing to the players' strengths. I think at some point, some people have to start looking at the players instead of looking at the manager to asking why we don't have possession and why we can't do certain things. Because it can only be so many managers that come in and we continue to not be able to do the same things. And this is why I always make a very strong opinion on that. You need the tools. You need the tools. Like, people want to battle me on this, and it's all fine, but you're not going to be able to turn my opinion on this. You want a certain job done a certain way, you need certain tools. If you don't have those tools, the job ain't getting done in a certain way. You're going to have to do it in a different way. And that's what I see from the team. So, listen, would we like the possession? Would we like to play, total football, run them off of the park at Old Trafford? Should Liverpool have 60% possession at Old Trafford? No, but we are where we are right now. We have to play like that, to a certain degree. I don't think we have. I think we've showed time and time again, through different examples, even in different systems, that when we try to play possession, we often get stuck. We're not as good. We don't score as many goals. So, I think it is what it is for now. But we have an opportunity. Listen, the lads and Carrick have done the best job that they possibly can. We've secured Champions League football. We've done a double over Liverpool. There was a 6-point game. We got it. We got over the line. We've been doing this. It hasn't been pretty, but I've been saying this, and I've been said this before Michael Carrick, and I said it when Ruben was here, and I'm pretty sure I said it when Erik ten Hag was here. A lot of times in football, okay, the most important thing is sometimes you don't play pretty. Sometimes you fuck up. Sometimes it's not a great game. But the teams that accomplish shit, the teams that actually compete and, stay at a high level and get things done in the season, they figure out how to win matches, even if they don't maybe necessarily deserve it. And with Michael Carrick coming in, what he's done is he's been able to find this factor within the team. The lads have been able to get it done on the pitch. They deserve their credit because, again, they're the ones out there with the football. Carrick and the coaching staff are preparing them, throughout the week. But when that whistle blows, it's a lot of the responsibility is on them. So they're doing it as well now. But we listen. We just a lot of teams. I mean, I've seen teams, Liverpool, when they win titles, when they've won titles, there was a lot of games that they played, they scrapped them 1-0. They didn't play well. They didn't deserve to win those games. They get away with it. Nobody cares at the end of the day when it's all said and done. So, maybe there's a bit of a room to raise some concerns and say, look, we need to improve in this area. Fine. But, we haven't played 100% total dominating football under Carrick. But what we have done is we have been able to figure out how to get through a barrier, how to get over a line when we're facing a bit of adversity. And today we bring that adversity on us. I said it in the last match reaction. I said it in the last Red Devil recap, okay? If we played in that manner, if we made those mistakes, if we were sloppy, we would get punished. We did get punished. We made 2 very terrible mistakes that allowed Liverpool to score 2 goals that they should have never gotten. It came solely from us. Solely from us. And, we made similar mistakes like that against Brentford. And thankfully, Brentford were a bit toothless and they were shit. But Liverpool have higher quality players than Brentford. Okay? And they made us suffer a little bit for it. But ultimately, our wonder kid, our homegrown kid, our local lad, he saved us. And you couldn't write a better script for it. Really, you couldn't write a better script for it. Kobe, as always, my hero from the first time I saw him playing in New York City a couple years ago. I mean, listen, we all know the kid he's got a lot left to his story, man. He's got a lot left to his story. He's really good for what he is right now. He's really taken everything well. And he's bounced back. And I'll give him credit as well because I think, listen, it could you go through the difficult period he went through under a manager, and listen, this shit happens sometimes in football. I'm not protecting anybody, but I'm saying, listen, it does happen. We've seen it happen with players at other clubs at different times and different periods. Shit happens. The manager doesn't like you. The manager doesn't favor you. Maybe you should be playing and you're not getting picked. It's unfair, but it does happen. But I give him credit because obviously as a player, to somebody like him, during that period, that's not, it wasn't it was a very negative experience, wasn't it? You got his brother in the stands wearing a free Kobe Mainoo t-shirt. You got the fans going crazy and the fan base split and divided and fighting each other. He didn't seem too happy. And, for him to sort of move on from that sort of very quickly and bounce back and start putting in the performances on the pitch and move away from that and just have like the mental headspace and the composure, I guess, to do, that sort of thing. Because listen, that you could let that linger on, you could let that still bother you, and it could have still affected him, even if he was coming back into the fold. And he hasn't really let that, he hasn't let that happen. He hasn't, right? He's come back in and almost basically proven a point to any of the doubters and maybe his, former manager. And he's put in excellent performances. I mean, he's improved defensively. Getting stuck in and winning the ball back. He's showing more strength. Still same composure, still very good in tight spaces and in tight situations where the player is close and maybe getting pressed. And he's getting pressed, and he's doing an excellent job. Look how Areola plays at Bournemouth attacking football. Yes, and also look at where they are in the table, though, my friend. You could play attacking football. It is going to leave you a bit exposed. I mean, I think in the first half, we played pretty attacking. And we were up 2-0, and we were still very high. We were pressing very high, and we were still very open in the back. So, I think right now, I have to agree with sort of the approach. I mean, I think, listen, we could always improve, and we could always get better, and we can, get be more attacking and be more threatening and get more possession. But I think also we need personnel injection. I think we need better quality. I think we need higher level players that can do those sorts of things. I think we need players that are natural at those sorts of things as well. You know, some players, they come with some sort of natural abilities. Not every player has the same natural abilities. Some players are more comfortable on the ball naturally. Some people are just naturally forward thinkers. You know, those players, those are the players really we need to get so we can nurture them a little bit, and take the naturalness of them and turn it into something elite. It's probably a lot easier to do that than to, you know, they have that saying, like, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and that happens sometimes with some of these players that we have. Like, you can try and train them, but listen, if you get a naturally talented player that likes to go forward and it does well in possession, maybe it's easier to get it out of them than it is to get it out of somebody that's not quite comfortable with that, and you're trying to train them to get it done. I agree. We need to upgrade our midfield. We need 3 quality midfielders at bare minimum. What styles do you envision we will play next year? Agreed and happy with Carrick's victory. Listen, I don't know exactly what style we're gonna play next season. I think we're not really seeing totally 100% Carrick ball. So Carrick ball is a bit different. I think Carrick ball is a little bit more focused on possession, a little bit more than you know, what we're doing. It's what he did at Middlesbrough. I don't know if he plans to do the same or not, because when managers come to United, they tend to change things. I mean, Ruben was the only one that didn't, and that still didn't work out for him. But, you know, the football that Erik ten Hag played at Ajax, we didn't get it at United. He changed his thing for us. So I don't know exactly what we're gonna get. I think it depends on the players of who we get first, and then, you know, really it's only up to them what they do. I mean, Dorgu did get back on the pitch, which was good to see him back in there and get some good minutes coming in from Buemo. You know, I was a little bit worried about that, because I was just like, well, he hasn't played in quite a long time. I don't know how sharp he is. And I was like, I hope he's going to be able to, because I was like, Ahmad's been struggling a bit all season, and, you know, that interaction didn't go well for him. And I was like, you know, we took Sesko off, and I was like, now we're taking Ngumoha off, who I thought had a pretty decently good game. And I was a bit worried. I was like, well, if Dorgu's not up for it and he's not going to be able to handle, like, sort of the pace of the match or something like that, I was like, we're going to have a pretty ineffective front three at this point, because Ahmad's struggling, we'll have Dorgu struggling, and we'll have basically just about Cunha running about. And I was like, I don't know, you know, at that time we were still tied 2-2, and obviously we wanted to find a winner. But I think Dorgu came on and did well, but he did come on in the left wing position, so I think that's a bit interesting. And we'll see how that sort of pans out for the remaining matches, because obviously we've been having a lot of discussion. You know, left wing, do we need a left wing? Do we need a left back? I think a lot of it matters on what we plan to do with Dorgu. If we're going to turn him into a left winger, then obviously we need a left back. So Lyles here says, hey, Eric and all you Reds, what's up, bro? Lyles says, we really love making life difficult for ourselves. We do. We never do it the easy way. We never, ever, ever do it the easy way. Ever, ever. We've never done it, like, my entire life growing up and being alive. We always do it literally the most difficult way. I don't know why we do such a thing. It's ingrained in our history. We've been in, like, so many difficult situations, impossible situations people would have quoted before we, made the impossible possible. But, and then Lyle says, but hey, Champions League is back at Old Trafford. That's right. And now that Champions League is back at Old Trafford, we can finally, Lyle, bring through the little emojis that we once created, that we were never able to bring in because we weren't in it. So I'll be uploading those. And those that are VIP members will have access to that, I think, probably by next show. I think, it should take me a couple minutes. And Sadiq reminded me, by the way, I was going to start. I mean, I didn't necessarily want to start off the show like this, but I meant to mention it. Sadiq says also, I hope Sir Alex has a speedy recovery. Yes, we did have the bad news, unfortunately. I mean, I'm sure most of you know, but Sir Alex Ferguson was taken from the match during the match, and he was admitted to the hospital. They did say that it was precautionary at the time. I don't know if we have any updates on his status, but we all hope that he's okay and he's going to be all right. And hopefully it really was just precautionary. But apparently they said that he was just feeling ill. But we don't know really what is the status of that. Hopefully it's nothing serious. And it's really unfortunate that that's happened to him. He's here, he's watching United versus Liverpool, biggest rivalry, biggest derby. And he wasn't able to stick around and watch a young Manchester United Academy product score a wonder goal, kill Liverpool, do the double over them, secure Champions League. So I hope he's all right. And if I'll be looking to see if we get any updates here on the timeline about that, and I'll keep you guys posted if we do. Why does our fan base bash Bruno? Bruno takes chances. He always tries his best. Well, some of our fan base bashes Bruno because they don't like sort of the erraticness, I guess. You would say he's a little bit more on the wild side than a traditional midfielder. So like you say, Sadiq, Bruno takes chances. If you take chances, you're taking risks. And sometimes he's a little bit wild with it, but I never had a problem with that, and I'm okay with that. I think a lot of listen. We used to take loads of risks under Sir Alex Ferguson. It's part of our DNA. So I never had a problem with it. Some people like a more traditional midfielder, somebody that looks after the ball a little bit better, somebody that holds it better in possession. But it's never been him, and it doesn't need to be him because the way he is and the way he plays. We've been rewarded out of it as well. He's tied the record for assists this season. A lot of our play goes through him, and he's been phenomenal for us since we signed him. And again, he is the best signing post Sir Alex Ferguson. He's been the most impactful for the money we signed him. He's our captain, and he's been pulling his weight consistently for a long time. I think he's had periods in seasons where he's looked off of it, but at some point he always figures it out and starts getting shit done on the pitch for us. And this season I think has been no different. I think the only difference is obviously that he was playing in a central midfield role under Ruben, and we all know now 100%, no argument about it, that he doesn't belong there, and his best position and where he should be on the pitch is exactly where he's playing now. He's the most effective. And since he's made that switch and we've made that change, he's been absolutely on fire. Natasha's here, says hi. Hi Eric, how you doing, Natasha? Are you happy with the win? Let's get to sort of some of the aftermath stuff going on here. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you smash the like button. Super important to the channel, okay? Get that done, people. Thank you very much. Matheus Cunha here. I'm just going to read off some of the things on the timeline, okay? Matheus Cunha here speaking after the match. On Michael Carrick, he said, "We're learning so much. Of course, when Michael comes, he came with magic, Alex Ferguson vibes. He talks so much about his team, the conquering team. This feeling comes to us. We feel so happy with the information. We focus hard to reach the objective. At the end of the day, this is just the start of the journey. It's the beginning, a beautiful beginning." And listen, very strong, positive backing from Matheus Cunha, and listen, I think he's given us a bit of insight on what Carrick has been telling the players. But I'll give credit to both. I mean, listen, it's Carrick's job to communicate the message to the players. It's the players' job to buy into that and take what the message that the manager's given you and translating it onto the pitch. So, and I think they've both done what is required of them to do. And I think, I think clearly from here, from Cunha's own mouth, Michael Carrick has been basically translating what he did as a player under Sir Alex Ferguson, and being in those iterations of squad of teams and winning all those things. And he's been sort of trying to transfer that mentality, that attitude, that feeling to this group of players. And I think, from Cunha's own admission, at least for him personally, he's bought into it 100%, and he feels it. He feels it. And basically, he's saying, listen, he's been telling us about what they did, and it's sort of transferred over to us. So, obviously, Bruno Fernandes has tied the record. So, listen, he's going to break it. We all know he's going to break it. I said he was going to get another one in this game. He got another one. It was a weird one, but he's got another one. And, yeah, I think next match will be it. I think he'll get one more assist in the next match. I think he'll get more maybe till the end of the season, but I think in the next match we play, I think he'll get another assist. I think he'll break it in that match. And then he can set it even further higher. But Bruno Fernandes has created more than 5 chances in 14 different Premier League games this season. Only Mesut Ozil has done so more often in a season, 15 times, in 2015-2016 season. And I'm sure he could easily break that as well. Matheus Cunha on Champions League qualification. He said, I think it's a journey we expected. The start wasn't easy. We know how big this club is, and we wanted to be here. It's such a privilege for all the players who come in. Everyone knows Manchester United is the only option, and that's why we love Cunha. He loves our club. We are a bit fortunate when you do find a player like him with his ability that has this admiration for the club. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not something that is fairly common, but there are players out there like that. And, again, I think he is right. Like, listen, we were aiming to try and get Champions League football. It was a very rough start. It was a weird sort of path we took, and nobody predicted it the way it's gone. It was, totally unpredictable. But somehow we've got here, and we found our way. And credit goes to Carrick, the coaching staff, and the players. Because where I've criticized the players heavily in the past, because I do feel like a lot of it is their responsibility. They've got it done on the pitch. And they've turned it around. And a lot of responsibility falls to them when it's in their feet, when the ball is there. And Carrick can only do so much. And the manager can only do so much. It's up for them to execute. And I mean, listen, in today's match, like, there was some moments where, listen, we did well. Passing the ball and moving it quickly. There was a lot of times where we were getting pressed, and we were able to get out of some very, very tight situations where you do get a bit nervy and you say, "Ooh, that's a bit dangerous. They're right on top of us. We may get dispossessed here." And we were able to do one-touch passes and move the ball and sort of cut their press out. There was a couple moments in the match where we failed to do that, and we did give the ball away in bad areas. We did concede from that as well. So there's still work to be done. There's still work to be done. There's still levels to improve. And that's, the goal for for the remaining matches for the rest of this season. And then obviously for next season, we got to show up and turn it up a level. And that's when the responsibility goes back to Carrick a little bit more. But the responsibility falls on Ineos now. Okay, our players did their job. Carrick has done, and the coaching staff have done their job. There's still a little bit of a job left to do, because we need to finish in third, and we need to make sure that happens, and we need to finish with the most points we possibly can. All right, but, Champions League is secured. We're back where, a club like us should be. With our size, we should be there. We have to earn it. We have earned it this season. We should be in these competitions. And we're back in there now. Microphone over to Ineos. It's your turn. And maybe I'll take a little bit of a page out of Ruben Amorim. Manager's done his job. Now you do your job. So your job is to go get the players, make sure we improve, get the proper profiles, fill the holes, improve the quality for next season. I think Carrick's going to get the job probably, so I'm just going to speak like he's got it, give Carrick the best possible tools to do the job, opportunity, and we go again, into next season. We go again into next season, so... what else do we got going on here? Aiden Heaven. Listen, I think Aiden Heaven had a really good game. Another one. 19 years old still, but he was phenomenal today as well. He played really brilliantly. And listen, he's been picked over Euro throughout this season, whether it's was Ruben or it's been Carrick when Euro was available. But listen, every time this kid, I think I really do like him. This kid has done sort of what I advocate for in football players, okay, and any football player, and I have a generalization for it. I've said it about Kobe. I've said it about many players. I don't care really who it is. It doesn't really matter. I don't operate like that. I have a standard for what I believe a player should do as a professional and as a Manchester United player. And this kid has done this. Listen, sometimes he plays and he plays well. And then, he sort of goes back to being a substitute and doesn't start and doesn't play a lot. And sort of goes missing for a little bit. And then a chance pops up, he comes back in and he takes it. And he's done this every single time. And he's doing it again. We're watching it in real time. I mean, when Carrick came in, Heaven wasn't playing a lot. And he wasn't getting the pick over Euro. Euro got injured. And, we were down players in the back. Heaven had to come in. And Heaven has come in and he has played brilliantly. And, I think it's just an indication to show, like, what a way you're fighting for, your spot and even for next season, as well, So, he's done really brilliantly in that manner, as well. So, Michael Carrick in 4 months as a Manchester United interim head coach, defeated Man City, defeated Arsenal, defeated Liverpool, defeated Chelsea, defeated Aston Villa. He's beaten all the big teams. We've beaten all the big teams, which is a very good sign, very good indication. We need to clean up some things for the smaller teams, and the tougher matches. But listen, I think we keep saying this, but I think as time has gone on, he's making the best case possible for him to get the manager job. You look at the options out there, and I do think with him being here, whether some people like it or not, because I'm sure there's some people that don't like it or are against it or question it, with him being here and starting what he started and the path that we're on and the role that we're on, it is becoming increasingly harder week by week, match by match, to not continue with him. It is very hard to make an argument against the case that, listen, he's got the ball rolling. Whether he's qualified for it or not on his CV, he's got the ball rolling. And it's very hard to make an argument to say, why should we stop the ball rolling? Because you're promising me that there's something out there that we can go get it and the grass will be greener than what it already is. Right now, Carrick is watering our grass. And it's growing and it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty nice. it can look a lot nicer. It can get a lot better. And I think it's very hard to say, well, stop watering it. Forget what this guy's doing. Let's get another guy, or let's get another piece of property because that property would be better. Or we'll get another guy to do the job and water the grass because he'll do a better job. And maybe would, but also maybe they completely fuck it up. So I think it's very hard to do such a thing. Renosa says, all right, my friends, time for victory nap. Yeah, you gotta go get that. Let's pray for some good transfer headlines now that Champions League is secure. I will talk to you this week. We'll probably go live. Renoso, we'll probably go live tomorrow because I assume after we've secured Champions League and we've done the double over Liverpool and, we've got this positive result on a Sunday, I assume that tomorrow is going to be a heavy day for news, especially in the transfer department. So we will go live 8:15 p.m. obviously, our UK, our regular time. But you go have a nice victory nap, enjoy that. I'm sure you're gonna sleep very soundly and with a smile on your face. And I'll talk to you later on in the week, buddy. Thank you for being here. GG's, GGMU. And we'll see you later, right? What else do we got to cover? Because we got covered. Since Michael Carrick took the Manchester United job, they've won more points, 32, than on the other side. And, listen, he's doing a job and a half, man. Like I said, I think we all hoped that he could do a good job. I don't think any of us, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's totally delusional, I would probably say. Just really, really out there. That said that maybe Carrick would win 100% games, 100% records, so they might be the closest. Obviously, doesn't have a 100% record, but I think, for basically everybody else out there, I think we all hoped he would do a good job. I don't think any of us, by the furthest imagination, actually pinpointed that he would do the job that he's done. To come in, we have been the best. I don't want to say performing team, but we have been the best team in terms of acquiring points, in form, winning matches, and getting results. We have been the best team since the New Year, since he's come in January. We have been the best performing side to basically a certain degree. So, he's absolutely just he's just killed it, man. He's killed it. Roy Keane speaking after the match as well, and he's got some things to say about Kobbie Mainoo. And Roy Keane has said Kobbie Mainoo knew how to take his chance for a young player from the club to score the winning goal. It's fantastic. So very proud day for Kobbie Mainoo because he's gotten. I would expect nothing less. I know Roy is he could be a very hard ass, and he's very hard on everybody. But when you're able to get praise and a compliment from Roy Keane, I don't think your day can really get any better. You scored the winning goal against your biggest rivals. You helped the team secure Champions League. You helped us do a double. You had a fantastic performance, and Roy Keane's coming out and giving you all praise after the match. You can't have a better day. You can't have a better day than that. So, sesko with a goal, Cunha with a goal as well. Listen, just to round out the stats a little bit as well. All right. We had 18 shots. They had 13. We had 6 on target. They had 5. We gifted them 2 goals. We had an XG of 2.14. They had an XG of 0.89. And we had 30 touches in their box. They had 18. So again, unfortunately, because of us, all right, and this is why I still have the thumbnail titled the way I have the thumbnail, because, listen, in reality, if we don't make those 2 mistakes, they're not scoring. And, we probably would have found the third one way or another. And, this match would have been talked about in a slightly different manner, in the fact that it would have been 3-0. Probably. I don't think they would have scored a goal. And, it would have been basically considered total domination. The only reason why it's not considered total domination is because we took our foot off the gas. We gifted them 2 goals. We allowed them to come back in. So you know, you can't really say total domination when we sort of let them do that sort of thing. But in reality, I mean, we were by far the better team today. Compared to them. I mean, they were awful. I was a bit shocked. Like, listen, they were on a 3-game winning streak. They seem to have turned it around a little bit. And I was a bit shocked by how sort of flat and directionless they were, Liverpool. You know, they were very directionless. They didn't really seem like they had a plan of action. And they seemed quite lost, and I was a bit shocked by that. I didn't really expect them to come out and play like that. And you know, we were handling a lot of the situations during the match. We were handling them well. You know, we did get caught out passing out from the back and stuff. Lemons made that mistake. And you know, listen, I think with Lemons, like, you know, it's a terrible mistake. And it's you know, can't happen again, but I'm not gonna go too in on him because he's done brilliantly since he's come in. And you know, these things do happen, and at some point they are some shit like that is gonna happen. You know, it's a bit unacceptable, but you know, for how he's handled himself and how he's done, I'm not really worried that, like, you know, I don't think we'll see something like that again. You know what I mean? For like a while. Like, I don't think it'll be a reoccurring theme or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, it was just a really bad, horrible mistake. Quite clear fuck up. And you know, just gotta shake it off. But you know, I'm not really concerned. And ultimately, listen, we were able to get the win, so we could sweep it under the rug a little bit. You know, he hasn't really made much mistakes, barely any at all, since he's you know, taken that position between the sticks. So you know, it is what it is, I guess. Now Kobe Mainoo asked after the match, you know, doing a bit of an interview. He said, I used to dream of times like this, taking a Meek Mill quote. If you don't know, but if you know, you know. If you don't know, now you know. What else do we have? I know we got the Spurs match going on. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm looking to see if we get any update about Sir Alex, man. Because I'm a bit worried. So, since Carrick was appointed, we've won 32 points. Arsenal have won 27, and City have won 27, and Bournemouth have won 26. And Liverpool 23. So, again, you know, by far, best performing team. With the most points. I think Amorim is trending. I think we probably know why. They're giving him pelters for Kobe Mainoo. Yeah. You know, I just seen somebody out here, a little bit of reaction from the fan base. Champions League secured. Now we need to focus on getting the summer correct. This upcoming transfer window is absolutely massive. A lot of work is needed on the team. We need more quality depth. Head coach decisions need to be made and announced early so we can plan properly. Well, I think that's already sort of happening anyway. Listen, I do think Carrick will probably be given the job. You know, it has been reported that Carrick has been involved over the past recent weeks in sort of the recruitment discussions. So I think that that's already going ahead, because I think he'll be given the job permanently. And since he's already involved in the recruitment discussions, you know, we're already on top of that process. But I do agree heavily on the fact that, you know, we say this every summer, but it is 100% facts. This window is absolutely massive. Massive job for Ineos, and we're going to see if they're going to fuck it up or not. You know, I think now is not the time, and now is not the place to half-ass this and say, well, we're this level of good, so we don't need that much. I think we should, put our foot down on the gas pedal, full speed, fully send it, and go as hard as possible, because I think now is the best chance, the best opportunity. We've had a really good season. We're in Champions League. We can maybe, we've earned a bit of reputation back, a little bit of positives, on our side, and maybe we can get a player or two that maybe we weren't able to get not being in Europe or being in the Europa League. So we're going to have to use our, opportunity to the full extent, What else do we got? Kobe Mainoo, to Sky Sports on Michael Carrick. Kobe said he's played a huge part in the 2026 turnaround. The confidence that he puts in, not just me, but on all the players. You want to follow him. You want to fight him. You want to die for him. That's what we have seen today. Yeah, I think that's accurate too. I will make an admission that I do think, like, listen, you do listen to some of the stuff that, like, Ruben was saying when Ruben was here. And I don't know why. He was like this. Maybe it's part of him. Maybe he was being too honest. Like some people said, but you did see that there was a bit of an area of sort of negativity coming from the manager. And again, I don't think they ever downed tools on him, and I don't think they ever stopped fighting for him, and they didn't stop fighting for each other. But Ruben would be quite brutally honest, publicly at times. And, it probably did lead to a bit of a confidence killer, especially when you think about some situations like, his responses to Kobe not starting or not playing as many minutes. The thing that he said about Dorgu when Dorgu was struggling. And maybe that is a huge downfall of him as a manager. Maybe he's got to work on that sort of thing. But yeah, and I think maybe even Mainoo taking a bit of shots at Ruben, kind of saying, Ruben basically wasn't doing something like that or wasn't getting that done for us. He didn't instill me with confidence, and that part I can understand. But he said, he generalized it much more. And he said, for all the players, and it was very, very specific in that. So, Berbatov said Mainoo is out for vengeance to prove Amorim and everybody who doubted him wrong. Yeah, and he should be. Why not? I don't really care. I always said, even though I backed Ruben's decision because he's the manager, and I think the manager needs to be allowed to make his decisions and do what he thinks best, and then we just need to see it play out and see if it was the correct or wrong choice. But I throughout that period, I always said I would like Kobe to keep fighting because I believe in the kid. I know he's got talent, and football is football. Like, a situation will arise, and when you get on the pitch, I mean, sort of like Berba is explaining, and that's kind of what I was saying. Like, you when you get your opportunity, that's when you go out for vengeance. Like, you prove the manager wrong. You prove the people that are doubting him wrong. But I think that's where you do your talking on the pitch. That's always the best place to do the talking, is on the pitch. So, what else we got here? Manchester United have their best ever win rate against Big Six teams in the Premier League season. 7 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. It's a funny game, man. It's a funny game. We finished 15th last season. we had half a season with the manager that we finished 15th last season. We got a new guy in halfway through. We were sitting fifth, and now we have a season where we have our best ever win rate against Big Six teams. You know, and when you think about that, I mean, that's with Sir Alex. And that's with everything Sir Alex did, and we've managed to get our best ever win rate. Now maybe that a little bit of that is, you know, we have more time to focus solely on the league because we've played a lot less matches, so maybe that's benefited us. But listen, we'll fucking take it. You know, whatever it is, what it is. Kobe says it's a blessing to play for this club. I want to die for Manchester United. Well, that's what we want to hear, and that's what we love. So and that's what I want from my players. That's all we need. We need that attitude. We need that mentality. And obviously Kobe, you know, being a local lad, and coming to the youth academy, obviously, like, you know, it's gonna hit a lot more like that for him than maybe, you know, some other players. But you know, I think Cunha has a similar mentality behind it as well. And even Bruno as well, and you know, a few other players as well out there. You know, but Cunha, you could tell he's a big fan of this club. He loves this club. He's not an academy youth product like Kobe Mainoo, but you know, it's a similar vibe, similar feeling that he's got to him. Kobe Mainoo on target for next season. He said win, win, win. And Kobe's having his day today. You should enjoy it, lad. I mean, you know, soak it all in. Because again, you just listen. You don't know what life's gonna bring you. So I'm happy he's in this space now. Okay, I'm happy. You know, things have turned around for him, and he's in a positive light. But you just you know, he's got to enjoy it as well. Because listen, you just never know. I mean, knock on wood. But like next season, again, like football is a bit cutthroat. It's a bit brutal. It's a bit unfair. Like you just never know, bro. We could have, you know, not a great season. We could have high hopes and not have a great season. It could go bad. You know, he could get, you know, a bad injury and be out for large parts of the season. So, you know, he's back in the team. He's made very big impacts. He's playing wonderfully. And I think he's developing as well. I think he's developing quite well as well. You know, I think one thing is like, listen, I don't know what we should necessarily do with Steve Holland. I mean, I'm not a fan of the Southgate football. And he was sort of a part of that. But I do think that, listen, like, if Carrick's going to be the manager, I do think maybe, you know, maybe he does need somebody like Steve Holland. He is experienced. I think Holland probably, I think Steve Holland gives like the other side to Carrick. And, you know, you need a bit of a yin and a yang. And I think Carrick wants to do, you know, the United way, high risk, counter-attacking, you know, what he did, what he used to play under Sir Alex Ferguson. Steve Holland is a bit of an opposite of that, isn't he? But I do think, you know, so far with what we've seen, it does seem to balance out quite well. And, you know, listen, you can't, we could give Carrick all the credit in the world, but I think it's only fair that, listen, Steve Holland is part of that as well. So, you know, if you want to praise Michael Carrick and say, you know, he's done a brilliant job and he should be the manager, I think it is fair that, like, listen, while he does have Steve Holland as his assistant, he does listen to Steve Holland. Steve Holland has made, you know, tactical calls or adjustments or, you know, whatever it is, and Carrick's listened to his basically his right hand man, and you know, he's played a part in helping us get these points and these results and these performances. So, you know, who are we to say, oh, because he's managed with Southgate that he's not good enough? I mean, it's working right now. So I don't see why not. You know, I don't see what's wrong. I don't see what's wrong with it. You know, I don't know. I think it's very hard to take that away from him now. Because he is part of the, he is part of this winning team sort of thing. So Bruno Fernandes has created 120 chances in the Premier League this season, the highest total ever recorded by a Manchester United player in a single season since Opta began collecting data in 2003 and 2004. Kobbie Mainoo was the player of the match. He is also my player of the match, man of the match. I mean, listen, he had a brilliant game already. He was already playing brilliantly, but he scored the winning goal. And it was a beautiful stunner. Wonderful, beautiful goal. So Kobbie Mainoo quite rightly deserves man of the match, player of the match. Absolutely 100%, no doubt about it. What else do we got? What else do we have here? Kobbie Mainoo on lessons learned this season. He said, I'd say just being patient and trusting the process. And that's what I love to hear, because that's what I advocated for the entire time. I asked for the kid to fight for his position. I asked for the kid to not quit on himself, but also the club. It wasn't a nice situation what he was in. And obviously, as a player and somebody like him, you want to be playing. And I like that aspect that he was upset that he wasn't playing, because obviously he really cares. I don't expect anything less from him. I don't expect him not to care. What I'm saying is, at some point he could have just been like, you know what, fuck this. I'm not playing. I should play. I deserve to play. The manager's a dick or whatever. This is unfair. Let me just go somewhere. Let me just leave. Let me just take my talents. This is why I got mad at Paul Scholes when he said that, if I'm Mainoo, I'm asking to leave the club. And I'm like, you are a legend of this football club. He probably looks up to you, and you're going on a podcast and telling him to quit. And I was like, I don't fucking agree with that. He should stay. He should fight. He's a young guy. Okay. And I always felt like one way or another, somehow, some way, he'll get through that period. That thing, nothing lasts forever. And I was like, listen, it'll work itself out. And it's worked itself out. Okay. Our manager got fired. Or the manager at the time got fired. And we got a guy in, and he's come back into the team. Could have happened in a different way. But it happened the way it is. But he's here. He's here. And I think it's a very good answer. Just being patient and trusting the process. And I think that's very important for, somebody his age. And to understand that and grasp that and actually take it on. And basically just putting the money where his mouth is. Because he did have to be patient, and he did have to sort of trust the process. So Berbatov giving a couple comments after the match, saying, this is what football can do. You can play not that great, and then all of a sudden things change. New manager comes in, the players get that lift that they needed, and then Champions League football next year. It's something Old Trafford and Manchester United deserve. I mean, I am very, very happy, and ultimately very, very excited. I mean, I can't wait for us to actually be... I mean, I want the new season to start like right now. I can't wait to be involved in the new Champions League format. We haven't been involved in it. I can't wait to be going through this season, Premier League high quality matches, and then on a Tuesday or a Wednesday we're playing a high quality Champions League match, and we're involved in this conversation now, and we're going to be involved in this tournament, and we're going to be in the battle with all the teams. They've been kicking us down. They've been talking shit to us. Asking us where we are, and when we're playing for Champions League, well, we're fucking playing. So, don't worry about it anymore. I will say, to the rivals, we're back in it, where we belong, and we will be there, and we'll probably see you, and be ready for us. Be ready for us, because some of these fuckers that have been talking shit all season. Oh, when you playing on Tuesday? Oh, wait, you're not in Europe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That didn't last very long for you now, did it? So, we're back. We're back. We're back. We are back. What else do we got to pick from here and talk about? I hope we get an update about Sir Alex. Yeah. Kobe Mainoo also said it's tough not playing football, but I kept working hard. Michael Carrick came in and gave everyone confidence again, not just me. We want to fight for him. Well, fair play. I think he's taking his opportunity to take a dig at the old manager, which is what it is. I mean, he's not the current manager, and it's fine. Um, it's fine. But listen, it's fine. I respect the fact the answer is totally acceptable, and um, this is what I was saying. Like we all know, I knew it's tough not playing football. You know he wants to play, and that's why I said I'm happy that he's upset about it, but he needs to stay in a certain way. And he said I kept working hard, and that's all I asked for him, because I always knew. I was like, dude, as long as you don't decide to become very bitter and very just throwing a tantrum about the shit, and basically just throwing your toys out the pram and going crazy because you're not playing, and basically just come to the conclusion, say, fuck this, I deserve more, and fuck the club and fuck everybody, and I'm leaving and I'm gonna go somewhere else. As long as he didn't decide to do that, I was like, yeah, he'll get through this, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He just needs to continue to work hard, do your work in the background. All right, that guy's not picking you. Well, at some point, either something will happen where he'll be forced to pick you, then you force his hand because you've been working hard, or that guy leaves and you're still here and somebody else new comes and you got a fresh opportunity, which is exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. So and listen, I think it's also the fact that we got back in Champions League, I think, is a very positive for the people that want Bruno Fernandes to stay, because I think if we didn't, I think maybe it would have played a little bit more into maybe would have left. But I think the fact that we're back in the biggest European competition, I think puts a little bit more weight into Bruno staying. It gives us a little bit more pull as well to do something better to a higher level in the transfer market, which is something that Bruno obviously wants to see and always demands, and I think that's perfectly fine. Especially for your captain. Just like the rest of us, where we're demanding that we want to see, some high quality stuff being done in the summer transfer window. Our captain's going to demand the same, because we're going to obviously want to make a push, and so I think that's a sort of a positive thing there. Um, Kobe also said the fact that we've managed to turn things around like we have is all credit to the players and the manager. We're looking to the future and we want to finish strong. We want to keep winning again and again. And correct mentality there, man. So, correct mentality there. 110%. What else do we got? What else do we got? Hold on, I gotta see something real quick. Where else are we? Hold on. Hey. I have to sort that out. All right, back to what we got going on here. I might have to. I got to search up. I got to search up. Lisandro Martinez suspension is over, by the way. For those of you that were wondering, he will be available for selection for Manchester United's next game, so that's good. Michael Carrick has given us an update on Sir Alex Ferguson, by the way. Well, it's really an update. It's a non-update update. Okay. Carrick on Sir Alex. He said no update. I don't know the latest. Hope he is all right. Wish him all the best. Hopefully, when he hears the result, it will give him a good boost. We hope so. We hope so. So we're still waiting to see if we can get any sort of information on Sir Alex Ferguson, to confirm that he is okay. But like Carrick said, hopefully he's all right, and we wish him the best, and hopefully, when he hears about the result, and they're gonna have to show it to him how it happened. Hopefully, that'll give him a good boost and put him in better spirits. Carrick also speaking on Kobe Mainoo now, and specifically responding to Kobe Mainoo saying that the players will die for him. And Carrick said that's one of the biggest things for me, trying to get the best out of people and helping players, giving them the opportunity to perform and do what they're good at. Yeah, I mean, listen, that's a very important part of football. And again, I think the fact that Carrick, I think it's sort of a two-step, twofold type of thing. The fact that Michael Carrick has that idea, has that philosophy, that mentality, and rates that, is massive. But also but then also comes the other part of going after that and getting to accomplish that, and getting it done. That was one thing that we always did. I think Carrick's gotten that. I think that's gotten passed down to him from Sir Alex. His time being a player and Sir Alex being the manager, of course, and playing under him. I think that's something that's been passed down to him because that's literally what we were, and that's what we used to do. We used to, Sir Alex used to be able to get the absolute best out of the people, and helping the players, and giving them the opportunity to perform and do what they're good at. Literally, that's literally what Sir Alex was so good at. And I think Carrick's picked it up from him. But Carrick, Carrick's here now, and Carrick's got to be the one to do the job, like Sir Alex did for him and the rest of his teammates. He was able to get the message across and get them to be able to do it and get them to buy into it. Now Carrick is the guy that has to do that job. And yeah. Carrick asked whether it will be he will be disappointed if he doesn't get the permanent role. He said we'll have to wait and see, So I don't know, maybe you could read into that maybe whatever way you want. Maybe he knows he's getting it. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. He was asked again on becoming Manchester United permanent head coach, and he said it's not about what I'd like or not like. It's not in my control. Everything has gone so well. I'm happy with where we are. We want to get better. Let's see what happens next. What happens next? I'm not thinking about it. Well, maybe you're not thinking about it because maybe you already got it. So you don't really have to think about it because you already know about it. You know what I mean? I do want to mention as well, I think the referee, I didn't really want to mention this early on because I kind of felt like, what's the point? But I do think that the referee was quite poor today. I do think the referee was quite poor today, especially against us. I mean, the calls were quite shit, and it I mean, listen, we were maybe a bit fortunate with the handball, but I mean that really I mean there was VAR for that, but listen, the calls themselves on the field, like players getting tackled, um, intentionally fouling, not really getting the yellow cards out. I mean, the first yellow card that was branded was to us and was to Luke Shaw. Meanwhile, Liverpool were just taking our players multiple times, and not calling fouls. Not when he did call fouls, he didn't brandish a yellow card, which I thought there was a couple yellow card offenses much earlier than when Shaw got his yellow card. So not saying that Shaw's wasn't a yellow card, but I think that there was other situations um before that as well. So see what we got here. Um the heck. Oh, that's also why I messed that up. Totally messed that up. My bad, people. I'm just fixing something right here. So I'll be with you in a second. Just give me a second, cause I'm struggling to multitask. Struggling to multitask. Lyle's here. Says, I'm intrigued to see how Ineos handles the summer window now that we have UCL football. Well, I think Lyle, it's there's a bit of a problem for me. Um because there's a bit of a problem for me because I think with the way we look at it as fans, all right? We're looking at it and we're saying, listen, we've done brilliant, like there's been this brilliant turnaround under Carrick and we've done much better, but we can do a lot better and we want to improve a lot more, and we're like, we're happy that we're sitting in third and we look like we're going to finish in third, and it's a better finishing than probably all of us predicted we were going to do. I mean, before the season started, we're like, listen, we want to get back in UCL. We obviously have to get back into Europe regardless, and Champions League Europa League would be the minimum. But I remember that pretty much everybody was like, listen, it's going to be tough to try and finish in the top four. And it looks like we're kind of basically going to comfortably finish in third, and comfortably finish in Champions League. So the thing that worries me is us as fans, we're looking at it and we're like, listen, we have a big opportunity this summer window. You know, we're looking at this summer window. We're looking at where we are. We're looking at how we just finished where we are. And us fans, we're looking at the situation and we're saying, this is absolutely massive. And, we have a chance to build something very, very strong and take this position and, sort of launch even higher from it. And I think most of us would probably say, based off of this finishing of this season, we would go into the transfer market and we would try to sign, we would spend as much money as we possibly actually realistically can, try and get the highest level quality of players as we possibly can. Like, go big. Make a big statement or two, get some very high level quality players. You know, and then we go from there and look to, basically secure ourselves, secure our position, make sure we have a very good Premier League campaign. Make sure we can handle the Champions League and get out of that sort of table phase and go into the knockout phase, and then see if we can win a couple knockouts. Round of 16, quarterfinals, whatever it is. See if we can if we can win a couple of those scenarios, and go from there. The problem that I have, and I took a long time to get here, but the problem I have is I don't like the aspect. The one thing that keeps bothering me is we were like, dude, we need to sign somebody in January. We need reinforcements a little bit more under Ruben. And, the quote that was coming out from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or that was being reported, that was coming out from Sir Jim Ratcliffe, is that he believed that this team was good enough to get Champions League. And I think, I think he might have been maybe a bit right, but also I think he's a bit lucky and a bit fortunate because, again, Carrick wasn't really part of the plan. And there was absolutely no clue to know exactly how good Michael Carrick was going to do. And we still do have holes in the squad. So we still, regardless, we should have signed somebody in January. We didn't. I get a little bit scared because I hope they don't take the same mentality going into the summer window and saying, look, we are that good enough. I mean, we finished third. We finished, you know what I mean? I hope this guy doesn't go into such simple-minded calculation about it to go, well, look, we changed the manager. We have the same players. If you look at the table, we only finished 8 points off of first place or whatever it's going to be. So we don't need to go and spend 250 million. Let's just spend 150 million because, the team is already a certain level of good enough. So we don't need massive amounts of spending, or we don't need to, we don't need to be we don't got to get that high quality of player. We're already good enough. Basically, I don't want them to make the excuse or the determination that they think that we are at a certain level that I think the rest of us don't think we're necessarily at. I think most of us are looking at this and saying, listen, we've had a fortunate season. We've done good, but we've had a bit of a fortunate season as well, and we would like to capitalize on it instead of saying, like, yeah, job's basically 75% done. So, I don't know. I think we got to see. Top 6 was my target. Did not think about third. Well, I was thinking, like, maybe we could have snuck into 4th, Lyle. I thought maybe, I was like, I felt like, I was like, listen, I was like, we got some players in. I was like, maybe Ruben can, figure some stuff out. And even when he was still here, I was like, listen, we're in 5th. We missed a couple chances to get over the line, as we talked about many a times. But we were still right there, and I was like, listen, where we are, I was like, we could get 4th. I was like, I don't know, 3rd was a bit hard because at that time Villa were, in like a 10-game winning streak or something like that, and it seemed a bit impossible. But yeah, I mean, basically everybody was like, listen, it's gonna be a bit of a tough battle. We gotta finish back into Europe. But now we're here. Lyle says, that has always been our problem before UCL historically with Ineos at the helm. I wonder if the mindset has changed. Hopefully it has. We need to be smart. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. It just worries me because of that report, because there could be an element of that coming from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. And, I don't trust Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I don't trust his judgment when it comes to footballing decisions. So, I hope at the very least, I have my concerns about Wilcox, but I mean, at the very least, hopefully Wilcox, Barada, and Vivel are basically, making the case and is like, listen, um, so Jim opens his mouth and says, Jason, how much improvement do you think we need to hit our goal? And hopefully they're all basically telling Sir Jim, like, listen, basically what we're saying, like, listen, we finished third. We might have finished like 10 points off of first or whatever it's going to be. But these teams are going to spend money. They're going to improve. We're still like, about this far behind them. So we can't really take our foot off of the gas. Because we finished third and we're sort of right there in the conversation. We got to use this as a platform to basically launch our rocket off of the ground. Report suggests Sir Alex is conscious and was taken to the hospital for the precautionary check. Speedy recovery to the boss. Yes. I guess, we probably won't find out this stream, exactly what happened and if he's 100% going to be, like, released and he's totally okay and stuff like that. Ineos out is trending. So, why? I don't know why. Really weird. Um, okay. I mean, this is going on in the fan base right now. I don't know what to tell you, but so after we've won this match, we have Ineos out trending. Okay, and basically everybody is using the people that are posting this. They are they're using the fact of what happened under Ruben Amorim to Kobe Mainoo um to basically talk shit. Um but again, it's like, I don't know. I don't really understand it. Like, I listen, if you want Ineos out, I get it, but I don't really understand the I don't understand, like, using like, it's the situation is gone, bro. It's done. Um so whatever. I don't know. It's the internet. It is what it is. And I literally don't have anything to say about that. So I find it strange. Um, Roy Keane on Carrick, interesting here. He said he has a good chance of getting the job if he manages to finish the season strongly, which it's exactly what he's doing. They'll have gotten into the habit of winning matches, which is a good thing. We can analyze their problems, but when you're in that dressing room, you're happy to win matches. The goal was to qualify for the Champions League, and he achieved it. He's made an impression on everyone at the club, and he's doing very well. United is probably looking at other options, but in the meantime, he's winning matches, which gives him a good chance of getting the job. And you know what? Fair play to Roy Keane. And I always sort of said this. I mean, Roy Keane is hard on everybody, and that's why I never really was mad about what Roy Keane. Listen, I didn't maybe necessarily like it. It felt a bit maybe too personal. Because he had that thing with Carrick's wife once upon a time where they sort of got into a public argument over things he said about Michael, and there was maybe a bit of a tiff there. But no, I mean, for me, I think it was always just like I said, like, Roy Keane is hard on everybody. That's the one thing. Whether you like that or not, and you think he's negative or whatever, I listen. I don't have if you do it to everybody and you keep it balanced and you keep it fair and you don't make special exceptions for people, then I think, like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with him being the way he is. And he was very hard on Carrick, especially when he first took over, and he was very vocal about why should Carrick get it, and he didn't think that Carrick should get it, and he think somebody else should get the job, and he said his piece on it, but Listen, he could still double down if he wanted to, and he could have said the same thing again. But I think what he said here, I think is fair, man. It's fair. And he's showing respect, and he's giving him praise, and I think with Keane, I think the thing with Keane, I think, is quite easily to read is he doesn't hand shit out to anybody. So, he keeps a hard stance right to the very end, and you have to ultimately prove to him. You have to earn his praise. And I think with Carrick, some people will say, "Oh, he's backpedaling and this and that," and now because Carrick's doing well, he wants to change his tune. But I think with Keane, I think he's always like that. I think Keane is a guy that like he's going to challenge you. He's going to question you. He's going to sort of put you to the test. He wants you to prove him wrong. He wants you to prove a certain level before he gives you sort of a trophy. He's not going to give you the award before accomplishing anything. You have to accomplish something. And he sets sort of a high standard. And I think, with the way things have gone, I think that's why you're seeing what Roy is saying here, because he has hit a certain achievement, and he has done, a certain job, and he's gotten, Dominic Soboslai pointed at the Premier League winner's badge on his shirt before heading down the tunnel at Old Trafford. Yeah. You're rattled. Rattled. Sore loser. Crybaby. And also, Soboslai, what I will tell you is, you can't point to that next season, can you? You can't point to that next season, can you? So yeah, fuck off. What else do we have? Do we have anything else? Oh shit. Do we have anything else to discuss? To talk about? Let's see, we get any updates? Mad Diallo apologized to the fans after he mistakenly passed the ball to Soboslai to score. Yeah. Hey, yo, Kobe did it again. That's why I called him the Liverpool killer. Kobe Mainoo, straight for end, edge of the box, Liverpool, goal. It's twice. It's twice he's done it. And you best believe Kobe's going to come and do it to you again for a third time. Liverpool. Liverpool. Livar pool. Even Micah Richards is giving praise to Kobe. Yeah, I mean, listen, he deserves all the praise, bro. I'm very happy for Kobe again. For me, like, it's not even about sort of, it's not even about sort of proving people wrong or whatever. Like, for me, it's the fact that, again, like, the kid, I just knew, like, bro, as long as you don't quit, as long as you just put in the work in the background, like, a chance will come. And I practically was begging him on stream, like, don't quit, don't quit, don't leave. An opportunity will come, and you'll get it, you'll take it. And all you got to do is take it, and he did it. So he's done it. He's done it because there was a lot of big pressure on him coming back as well. I mean, the fan base was quite divided. I mean, it was quite divided. I mean, there was people that really heavily took Ruben's side on that, and so much so that they started talking very poorly and very negatively about Kobe Mainoo. Our own fans, you know, talking shit, saying he ain't this, he's overrated, he's shit, he's blah blah blah, because they're backing the manager. Okay, and it was very much so on the other side as well, and that you know they backed Kobe very hard, and they were fucking going at Ruben as hard as possible. But you know, when Ruben went and Kobe came back in, there was big pressure on him coming back into the team because he sort of had to, you know, if it didn't go well, the narrative would have flipped. Well, Ruben was right. If it didn't go well for Kobe, the pile, the pressure on would have been that, you know, Ruben was right and Kobe ain't that good. So he did have sort of pressure to come back in, like, you know, this is your chance, this is your opportunity, you got to perform. You know, and loads of the fans, everybody basically wanted him back in the team, but you know, when you get picked, you still have to perform. You know, and he's done that. So, well, he's done that. Second half, Lucky is here. Second half end to end, Ahmad Diallo should had ball. Same Diego Delo, Sky, Harry Maguire. That was far too away. What about Casemiro? What about Casemiro with the header? I don't know. My hair is crazy today, bro. I don't know what's going on. What about Casemiro, bro? Dude, that I was like, because I didn't know if we were gonna get another really good opportunity. We went quiet for a little bit. We gave up 2, you know, mistake goals, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, obviously, I was like, I want us to just, I was like, I don't know. We have to fucking get our shit back together and get a goal. You know what I mean? And then that cross came in, and it was Uncle Cass wide open. And dude, I fell to my knees when he headed it straight at the goalkeeper. I was like, bro, you were wide open by yourself. You've been doing it all season. You could have headed the ball anywhere. You could have headed the ball literally fucking anywhere. And you headed it directly to the goalkeeper. And I was like, fuck. And then I started thinking, I'm like, dude, that I was like, that was it. I was like, now, I was like, Liverpool gonna score some bullshit goal, because I was like, we didn't score that one, but it didn't happen. And then obviously we won. So, second half, decent performance. We won 4 or 5 goal. Casemiro had chance too. We should have had 4 or 5 goals. We should have, and we didn't. So, you know, it's something. Listen, that's something we need to work on, though. You know what I mean? It's something we need to work on. We should have. We could have. We didn't, and we need to start. We need to start doing that. We need to start doing that. We you know, I think one of the next obstacles, goals, you know, humps that we need to get over, answers, solutions, or whatever you want to call it, you know, that Michael Carrick's gotta figure out going forward, and help the, you know, the players and the team as a whole unlock is, you know, we need to start really battering the shit out of teams, you know, in certain situations. And also, we still need to get an answer on how to put in a full 90-minute performance, because we still can't do that. We didn't do it today. We haven't done it. I don't even know in how long we haven't done it, you know. And we can't consistently do it. So we need answers to that. We need to find answers. But again, you know, it's not a Carrick thing per se. Like, this has been an ongoing issue for about 2-3 managers now. It's been part of sort of our, you know, our recent identity. Now, so we got, you know, we got to see if we can fix it. Ultimately, it's Carrick's turn now to give it a go, to give it a shot. But this isn't something that we've seen created by him, that we didn't have in the squad before he came. So it's something that has been sort of passed down and has been left to linger. We need to figure out, and we need to find an answer to these things going forward. So Fabrizio Romano has given us an update transfer-wise. On Xerxes' chances of leaving Manchester United this summer. Xerxes loves being at Manchester United. He believes the club is one of the best in the world and would like to stay. And would like to stay and succeed. It's difficult for Xerxes to break the relationship and leave because he loves United. We have to wait for the end of the season. Who's going to be the manager? If Carrick stays or not. Champions League football requires more squad space. Xerxes will have a conversation to understand if United can guarantee him game time. If they can't, Italian clubs are absolutely keen. I guarantee you there's at least 2 or 3 Italian clubs already in conversations to understand if Xerxes and United will open the doors to a move. Well, here's the thing. Again, like, personally, coming from just a footballing decision, okay? And Ineos could possibly make a different footballing decision, but I disagree with their footballing decision. They could potentially, if they want to decide, they can tell Xerxes, like, listen, you'll be part of the squad more, we'll have more matches, so you'll get more opportunities, and we'll keep you, because for squad depth. But my thing is like, he's not what we need. I don't think he's the right fit for what we need. And I think that there is a player out there that fits us a lot better that we can go and get and replace him with. So my footballing decision would be, yes, I understand we're going to need basically a bigger squad and we're going to need more depth. But I think somebody like him, he should be replaced. Like, we should sell him and we should get somebody else in his place. But I kind of feel like there's always an element that Ineos or our hierarchy or, you know, whoever it is, that these guys will just sort of be like, well, you know, we need a bigger squad and there's not much that we can do in terms of, like, getting in sort of a replacement for him because we're focusing in other areas of the pitch and other positions. And if we get rid of Xerxes, we won't be able to necessarily get a replacement, you know, in the attack. And Xerxes is basically like the backup striker at this point to a certain level. I mean, he's not even really, but, you know, in a certain level, in a certain way, in a certain degree he is, because, I mean, if Sesko gets injured, like, whether Xerxes would start or he would be coming off the bench, you know, his role would go up at some point. You know, we would probably, so far into Carrick, the all indications is that, like, I mean, he doesn't really rate Xerxes in that manner for the squad. I think he aligns with what I believe, that he's not enough. And, you know, he's not, he just doesn't, he's not what we need. And so that's why you see the likes of, like, Mbeumo going into striker instead of Xerxes coming on when Sesko had to come off. And, you know, you also have Cunha there as well. So, you know. So, I think the correct footballing decision for the club is, you look at a player like Joshua Xerxes, you look at a player like Manuel Ugarte, and you say, okay, these guys, they don't fit us correctly. They're not versatile enough. And we can replace them with players that give us more in the positions that they're in as a footballing decision. No bad blood, but we got to move you on, and we got to go and get two new players to replace you that give us a little bit more for next season. Michael Carrick, still enough performance, so I'm giving job. Next season, we'll get better in midfield and attack. I hope so. We better. If we don't, we're screwed. Carrick on Ahmad and Sene, he said, because obviously they were the two that made the 2 mistakes to the goals. So Carrick said Ahmad and Sene Lemons have contributed a lot to the team since I've been here. Mistakes are a part of football. The most important thing is how we react. And yeah, that's good from the manager. And Ahmad can use that. And I said the same thing with Lemons. Like listen, it was a horrible mistake, really bad. Um, you know, but listen, Onana got all those chances and he did all those fuck ups. And Lemons has been really good. And like Carrick said, he's contributed a lot to the team. Since Carrick's been here, but even since Lemons has come in general. Um, Mistakes are a part of football. They will happen. It's important he doesn't do it at a high consistent level. He hasn't really made any bad mistakes today. He made one that could have maybe costed us, but his teammate made up for it a little bit in Kobe Mainoo, and even the rest of his other teammates, because we did score two other goals. So and we did win 3-2. And Heaven did perform very well and defensively. And Cass did a very good job in the midfield, sliding in, tackling, and getting balls. And Mbuemo had a good game as well. So, and Cunha had a good game, and Bruno had a good game. So, they lifted each other up. Uh, I mean, I don't think he necessarily had a shit performance. It was just a really bad mistake. So, I don't think that goes into the totality of the entire performance. But yeah, very, 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 very bad mistake. And but listen, we move. We move. Hi, Eric. How's tricks? How's things? I'm all right. Just finishing up the show. uh, Basically now, just finishing up the show. Axe is here. What's up, Axe? What else do we have left? 13 verse 2. Well, that's another thing as well, Soboslai wants to point to the Premier League winners badge on his shirt. I mean, we have 13 of them, by the way. If Soboslai doesn't know that, I think he needs to be a bit educated on that. But big thank you to Michael Carrick. Listen, he saved our season. I'll give it to the players as well. But we gotta spread the positivity. We gotta spread the credit. And he's been brilliant appointment. And I guess he's turning himself into an even bigger legend now than he already was. So, you know, you was busy and you forgot I was on. How did you forget? I'm glad that you are still alive. Why wouldn't I be alive? Need to prepare for the future work week. What time is it for you where you are, Axe? I feel like you live a very I feel like you go to sleep at like 9 p.m. or something. I don't know. I feel like you I feel like you're one of those people. You go to sleep like very early. I am glad that they won, almost bottled the game at 2-2, but greatness prevailed. We deserve that UCL qualification, but we need to improve considerably. It's 21-23 here. All right, now you what is that? 9-9? 9. 9-23. Oh, all right. Oh, so you're an extra hour. Well, you're 2 hours ahead of the UK, but you're 7 hours ahead of me. All right. Makes sense. But it does get a little bit more later for you than the rest of the peeps. I guess I was wrong. You don't go to sleep at 9. I'm right behind you. What's with you? Leave Lie alone. Uh, yeah, I don't know what players we're getting. We'll figure it out along the way. I mean, we need the season to end first, and we'll see what happens. I'm a bit anxious because I don't know. I don't know what Ineos are gonna do. I don't know what Ineos are gonna do, and I don't know what they're thinking. So, unfortunately, I'm a bit nervy. Because I think it could go either way. They could have the same mentality that Sir Jim had before they sacked Ruben, and they were like, "We're good enough to get Champions League, and so we don't have to buy a player in January because the squad's good enough." And they can replicate the same thing and say, "Well, we finished third. We finished third, so we're pretty good. We don't need to spend too much, or we don't need to buy too much. We don't need to do too much. We're basically there. I mean, look, we're on 64 points. Okay, so we are what 12 points off of Arsenal, who are in first at the current moment in time. Um, we are the best performing team since Michael Carrick has come in. It does concern me because I don't think Sir Jim knows much about football. And obviously, he's a guy that he seems like when he wants to, he will get heavily involved. And I don't like that shit because he doesn't really understand football. More than basically, my opinion, it's probably like, the level of a fucking 14-year-old or something. And there's probably 14-year-olds out there that know way more than him. But what I'm saying is he's got pretty much a basic level. And if he comes and Wilcox and Omar and Vivell are like, yeah, we finished third, but like, no, we do still need to do like, some massive shit. And so Jim's like, pish posh nonsense. We finished third. We're 12 points behind Arsenal. We're basically right there. We're basically right there. We don't, we're not that far off of it. We're not that far off of it. We're right there, man. We're right there. Relax. Jason, relax. We're right there. We're right there. We just probably, we probably got to spend like 150 mil. We'll get like 3 players. We'll be good, bro. Don't worry about it. And then, Jason and Omar and Favela like, yeah, no. All these teams are about to spend 200 million plus and get better players, and the season's not going to go the way we just went, and we're back in the Champions League, and we're going to play double the matches, and like, we could easily fall off from here, to Jim. So I get a bit concerned. Because we don't know. We don't know. Are they going to be aligned with us? Because they haven't really been too aligned with us, have they? Since they've come here to a certain degree. There has been many sort of situations that have already transpired where the fan base is looking at it and making an argument for one side and has a certain feeling about something, and Ineos have basically been on the opposite side of that. So, could this be another one? Could this be another one? You drinking English tea? No, I'm drinking coffee. Carrick saved our season, yes, but the road ahead will be full of hardships. They need to back up Carrick with transfers and good management. They do. They do. They do. But the thing is, they need to back. I think more importantly, Axe, they need to back when the hardships come, because there will be hardships no matter what we do. Whether we go super hard in the transfer window, or it's average, or it's mediocre, either way, there's going to be hardships. And what I would like this football club to finally do, and I've been saying I don't really give a shit who you do it with. I don't care. I wanted it done with Ruben because that was the layout of what they were doing. Like, you made the change, you're gonna make the change, so fucking like follow it through and like let's like go somewhere. But they didn't do it again with another manager, with Ruben. They sacked him. So, but I don't care who it is. Like, I really don't give a shit who it is. It's when the hardship comes, don't get cold feet. Don't start panicking and saying, oh, maybe this isn't the correct, path, decision. Fucking stick with it and double down and back. You have to back through the hardship. We can't get cold feet and start getting scared and saying, oh shit, like maybe this, it was a mistake and we shouldn't have done this and we got to change direction. No, 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 no. Like, bro, follow through on it. Like, we're going to hit a period, we're going to hit a road where the road is quite shitty and it's all bumpy and it's like, is the car going to make it? Is it gonna make it? But we got to back through it. So, like, you got to hit this summer window. Carrick's here. And regardless of how the period from the beginning of next season, okay? Regardless of how next season starts, all right? To January, regardless, we should be going in the market in January and acquiring a player or two, whatever we can do. But that should be done regardless, because we're going to be in the middle of a season. We could potentially be in a place where maybe we have an injury crisis going on. You got to back him through the season. You got to back them going forward. Pep Guardiola leaving. You think so? How's the weather? We got thunderstorms. Today's sunny. I haven't been outside though, so it's a little bit cooler though. A bit windy. But I think next week it's gonna be nice. So tomorrow will be nice. Tuesday's gonna be really nice though. We now ready to go hard. Colored Baleba, Mateus Fernandez, Tushimeni, Indai, goalkeeper, fullback, double. Yeah, but we're not doing all that, Lucky. No, Pep will stay as he is starting to win the league next season with his new players. Well, I don't know. You think we're gonna get Michael Carrick 6 players, Lucky? I don't think we'll get him 6 players. I think we should get him 6 players, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. Yeah, you guys have a bank holiday tomorrow, don't you? I noticed that because there's I was looking at the matches and there's like Chelsea Forest and then Everton City. And the Chelsea Forest game is at it's it's actually super it's super early for you guys. It's at 5 o'clock in the morning, is it not? And it's on a Monday. It's at 10 a.m. for us. And I'm like, 10 a.m. is very, very weird. And I was like, they must have some sort of a bank holiday for that match to be played at that time. Pep Guardiola gone, leaving end of the season. Read reports. What reports? Yeah, none of that has not been confirmed in any sort of way. So this is coming from Pep Guardiola is reportedly expected to step down as Manchester City boss at the end of the season, with Enzo Maresca all but agreed to take over. And this is coming from source hand of Arsenal. Well, listen, if he leaves, I'll believe it when I see it. How about that? I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, there's some reporting on this, but there's no credible sources on this. There's no credible sources on it. So, I mean, when it's official, if it's officially announced by Fabrizio or the club or himself or whatever, then I'll believe it. Until then, I'm going to carry on with it. This guy is going to continue doing the job. When you look forward, your eyes go deep and meaningful. You think so? Um, yeah, I agree with this take. Somebody here is saying, like, if Carrick wanted to play the best type of football, we would have lost more games. I do agree with that. I don't think we're seeing actually the football that Michael Carrick would particularly play himself. That he generally did at Middlesbrough. That is, I guess, considered Carrick ball to a certain degree. Maybe it has elements of Carrick ball, but I don't think he's gone fully Carrick ball. I think really he's come in and he's pretty much did what everybody was saying that Ruben should have done, and is that playing a way that suits the players, and I think that's what we're seeing. So my answer to that is anybody that is sort of unhappy or not excited by the style that we're playing, well, I'll have to put it back to you and say, well, if you were asking to play a way to get improved results and performances, this is what you asked for initially. So it is what it is. And then I will go further to say, if you want to play more attractive football, I would make the argument, as I've been making, stop looking at the manager so much and look more into the personnel and the players. Because it cannot be we have 3 to 4 managers, different managers that play different ways, and the team is still unable to do certain things to play this attractive football that people want. So, but I do agree. I think we are playing in a way. The team was still set up very much to play counterattack. The team was still very much in a place to play in a 4-2-3-1, which is what we were doing for years. We were trying to play counterattack for years. We are not a possession dominant based team. When we've tried to do that, whether it was under Ten Hag, we tried to do it under Ruben. If you want to go back to, fucking Ralph Rangnick and stuff like that, when we tried to do it, it never worked. It was never beneficial for us. We haven't been able to do that. So, Carrick did play more of a possession-based game in Middlesbrough. We're not really doing that under him, are we? We're not doing that. We're not doing that. And I think we're not doing it because rightfully and smartly enough, I think he's come in, he's looked at the group of players, and he's like, yeah, if we try to play that way, we're not going to get the job done. We're not going to get 3 points. We're not going to win. It's not a strength of the team. So we're getting what we're getting because I think Carrick is playing to the strength of the team. So if you want to see a better, more entertaining football, well, I think it starts with we need better, more entertaining players first before you can get the manager to implement that with his players. What is Carrick's style? Well, his style is a bit more possession based. It still has elements of counterattack to it, but he would like to dominate the game a little bit more. You know, he would like for us to have about 65% possession, especially at home. We haven't really been doing that. We do defend a bit deeper at times. Sometimes I think that comes in with Steve Holland's side, but I think we do defend a bit deeper. I think he would be pressed a lot more higher. I think we kind of see a hybrid of that. I think we saw a hybrid of it today. I mean, in the first half, we were really high up. We were up 2-0 and we were still very high up and we were pressing the shit out of them. In the second half, especially after they scored the first goal, we started going a lot more defensive, dropping a lot more deeper. So, Carrick specifically, we should have onto him what he did at Middlesbrough, because that's all we could really go off of. Possession higher every match consistently, counterattack, which we already do elements of, and we would be playing higher, pressing a lot more. So Wilcox Barada will be rubbing their hands as they will say to Carrick, "Well done, you have got us to the Champions League. They have the job. We will give you signing Carlos Baleba." Surely Carrick should be given the job now. Sealed the Champions League with 3 games to spare. Well, again, I think we're still going to go through the process. I think the process is the proper thing to do because it's what they promised. It's what the plan was set up to be. So I still agree, regardless whether I want him to stay or not. Nothing should be announced before the last match of the season, and they still need to go through the formality of the process, look through all their options, probably take about 2 weeks or so. To make the final conclusion and decision and then announce it. My prediction on 2 of the scores came true. That's good. Yeah, you've had a couple predictions, Simon. Oh no, that was lucky. You know, you're playing like England because of Steve Holland and Carrick number 2. Carrick's number 2 defensive in England got found out at the Euros with Steve Holland was Southgate's number 2 and England played defensive. Yeah, but here's the thing. Steve Holland is a part of... Here's my argument to this. Steve Holland is part of the coaching setup. He's part of the staff. He is Carrick's number 2. And maybe we are playing a bit defensive because of Steve Holland. But also, I think it's very... I think, 1, it's unfair, and 2, I don't think it's correct to give Michael Carrick all the credit and all the praise and say Michael Carrick should get the job because he's done brilliant because of look at the amount of points he's gotten us, and then say, well, Steve Holland was with Southgate and England football was shit, and so Steve Holland shouldn't have a job. Because Steve Holland is working with Michael Carrick, and he has contributed to helping Michael Carrick achieve what they have achieved. So I understand that maybe people don't like the defensive aspect of it, but actually, I think you could make an argument to say it's a bit of a yin to a yang. Like, Carrick would like to play a lot higher, press a lot more, and probably be a lot more attacking and have a lot more possession. Steve Holland did have the defensive setup. It does seem like it's gelled quite well, actually. You do have, it's like a white and black. Like, you have a yin and a yang. It does seem like it struck a nice balance. And I don't think you could give Michael Carrick credit without giving the rest of the coaching staff credit as well. Because they're working together. And they've done this together. So, finally, after 10 years, we got the double. Yes. It's a good day. All our thoughts should go to Fergie, who had to go to the hospital before the match. Yeah, we talked about that. They still haven't given us really any update on that. They said it was precautionary. He felt ill, and they took him there as a precautionary thing. So hopefully it's nothing serious at all, and he'll be just fine. and he'll be all right, and he'll be out of there as quickly as possible. So, yeah. Valley Joe 96 says they will give it to Carrick. I'm very sure about it. We are screwed next season playing like this. But do you think that we're going to continue to play like? Here's my thing, Valley Joe. Do you think we're going to continue to play like this? Because I don't think we are. And actually, I mean, the job of the coaching staff and Michael Carrick, one of his main jobs is to further develop the team's playing style. I think if we are to play this exact same way next season, well then they're not doing their job. There needs to be a further evolution to the playing style. And also, like we've been discussing and like I believe, we are playing this way because they've come in and they've made a choice that they are going to play to the players' strengths. So if Ineos do the job that they're supposed to do, and they go and get players that can elevate our game to play an even better style than what we're currently playing, I do fully expect the playing style to improve. It should improve. There is no reason in the world that we should show up next season and play exactly the same way at the same level that we're playing now. Under the circumstances that we had, he was hired last second. There wasn't really a plan. He didn't have too much time to put things together before he managed his first match. The coaching staff was put together short notice, last second, So I think based over the circumstances that this was put together at this short notice, with the short turnaround, I think for what we've done this season is totally fine. I don't expect it to be this way. There should be no reason why we see this exact style of play and level of performance. It should not be exactly identical next season. If it is, we have a major problem. Because that means that, one, they're not doing their job, and two, they're not getting they're not improving. We need to improve, so they'll be failing the job. I don't see why that would happen. I was worried when Xerxes came on. Liverpool should worry when they play us next time. Do you know who should be in the hospital? All right. Mainoo honored his contract extension with that winner. If we drew, then we still needed a point in the next game. We would have gotten it. But, it was good to get it today. Like we talked about last time, Simon. We got it all done in one day. We did the double. It was a 6-pointer. We won the match. We beat Liverpool. We won at Old Trafford. We secured Champions League. And then on top of that, just to add the little cherry on top of the whipped cream, Kobe Mainoo scored the winner after signing his contract. We got it all. I mean, literally, we couldn't have probably got any more. The only thing we were missing was the clean sheet, which is, we had it, but we fucked it up. So, yes, I do think that's why I'm worried. LOL counter FC. Well, I mean, listen, I'm not trying to tell you, maybe not to be worried. I think, could be a valid concern. I mean, I can see how that could kind of happen. I think it would happen maybe in a different way. In terms of if they can't do the job of progressing the team. But I'm going to give them every opportunity to do so. They get every chance to prove that they can do that and improve the playing style. So I think for what it is right now, it is what it is. I again, knowing what Michael Carrick, and maybe listen, he has a different plan for United because it's United and it's not Middlesbrough, but we only have so much of a sample size to go off of what Carrick ball looks like to a certain degree. We've seen people come to Manchester United and change up, their whole philosophy or way of playing, where they were doing it successfully at one club and they change it up when they come to our club. So I don't know if it's the same case for Carrick. Maybe he doesn't try to replicate what he was sort of doing, at Middlesbrough. But knowing Michael Carrick as a legend of the club, excellent player under Sir Alex Ferguson, with probably some of the lessons and stuff instilled in him from his time as a player under Ferguson, I think Carrick would be looking to get the team to be able to not be so counterattack FC, go into matches and do dominate with possession 60-70% and run the game. I do think that he's trying to bring that element back. I just think you can't really do that right now. When you look at the players and you assess the squad and you say, I would like to do it, but we can't do it effectively, can we? Because we don't have the players that have that ability to execute such a gameplay. These players are best suited for counter-attacking, or the squad majority is still suited for counter-attacking. So, we could get some players in the summer window. It should be different. Obviously, it's based on who we get. So we got to see who we get first. See what they can bring to the team. See how they play the game. And then, we can start making our arguments from there. I think we'll need to change this style, but gradually. Like Erik ten Hag couldn't pass this point. We need to play a possession-based style, which we have to transition into. We might also need a new cam for that to work. Well, maybe, but that's what I'm saying. The thing is, Bruno's not going anywhere, and he's going to stay, and we're not going to get a new cam for the time being. And we do need to transition eventually. Yes, you're right. We need to get the players to be able to transition. So, at least we will be hearing the Champions League theme blasting through our Old Trafford speakers when the players come out. It's enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck. Well, I'm excited. I already want to get into next season, man, because I want to be be watching the games, bro. So, I can't wait. But wait, Carrick knows Sir Alex Ferguson style. He is the right man to help us transition into that. Yeah, but see, this is where I don't go too far off into that tangent, in terms of he might very well do so to some sort of a level of a degree, but where I go is, number one, he ain't Sir Alex, and I would just say, like, well, Solskjaer played for Sir Alex too. He had an element of it, but it didn't. It only went so far. And so are the rest of our legends that try to do management. You know what I mean? So I think he's got an element of that, but I won't run with that too far, because I think that can only take him so far anyway. No Isaac Salar at the ekitike cake in the squad. What a great send-off for Casemiro. He could have had it even better if he scored that goal. Who would you choose man of the match? I have Kobbie Mainoo. It's got to be Kobbie Mainoo. I mean, Kobe was already having a really good game, and then he scored the winner, so no doubt. No doubt it's Kobbie Mainoo. If Chelsea keeps screwing up, they won't be having European football. We can have a good laugh. Well, unfortunately, Tottenham are winning right now. 2-0 against Villa. And this is what I'm talking about, man. Like, these people that were talking about Emery, like, bro, Emery is a bit of a bottler, bro. He is a bit of a bottler. Like, dude, I've been hammering this point home since Ruben has been sacked. And I said, like, bro, the easiest indication about Unai Emery is go pull up his Wikipedia page and look at the finishing. Look at the average finishing of his career as a manager throughout all the different teams. Look at the average finishing. It's fourth at best. Fourth at best. This is what I was saying. Like, he is not the guy to get you over the line, bro. He's done a really good job for Villa, but again, it's Villa. It's not United. He had a job at Arsenal. He got sacked from it. You know, he's won Europa Leagues with like Valencia or whoever it was, Villarreal, whatever. But that's Villarreal and Valencia, and it's the Europa League. That guy is a certain level, bro. That's it. He's not a guy that's gonna get you over the line. And Villa have fallen off a fucking bro. Villa won like an 11-game unbeaten run. They were cooking. They made a massive gap. They're currently 6 points under us now. They are at home versus Tottenham, or literally relegation zone Tottenham, and they are losing 2-0 to Tottenham at their own home. So this is what I was talking about when I was saying, Unai Emery, that guy ain't that guy, bro. Like, people were like, get Emery, we'll win the league. No, we fucking won't. No, we won't. He could stabilize us. He could get us consistently maybe into like Champions League and shit, and we finish in top 4. But he ain't gonna get us over the line, bro. He's not that guy. He's never been that guy. So, time to start bringing in the silverware and not stare at our dust-ridden trophy cabinet. Well, we still have a little bit to go before we do that. We still have a couple of steps before we start hitting the silverware. I mean, if Carrick stays, I'm telling you this now. If Carrick stays, okay, and Carrick's given the job, you know, could he win one of the smaller trophies like a Carabao, FA Cup? Sure, but I'm not really looking at those. If Carrick stays, the best opportunity he's going to get to win a major trophy, which would either be the Premier League or the Champions League, it's going to take 2 to 3 years from now, from this season. It's gonna take 2 to 3 years, and we're gonna have to continue to, you know, build and improve over those 2-3 years. So it's not just on Carrick, all right? The club as a whole is gonna have to continue to improve all over the place. We need to purchase better players. We're gonna have to continue to buy new players over the next couple of seasons. We're gonna have to buy the correct players. Carrick's going to have to make the calls as the manager, get the results on the pitch, help grow and develop the players in training and stuff like that. So, you know, another 2 or 3 years. And that's if things go well. And we do what is required of us. 2 to 3 years. Spurs will lose the next match. West Ham will win the next game. And Spurs will be back in the bottom 3. Well, I don't know. Depends who they're playing. Getting the double over the Scousers means that we aren't afraid of the big sides anymore. Well, we've done very well. UCL expectations for next season. Just get to the knockout and win the first round. And then go from there. And go from there, and then just see what it is. It depends, obviously, who we come up against. But I think for me, you know, the absolute must minimum is there. We have to get out of the table phase and go into the knockout round, right? So, we need to at least reach, you know, what is it, the round of 16 or whatever it is. We need to at least reach that round. I would like for us to win that round, and then after that we got to take it from there, because we haven't been in the thing for what, like 2 years now or whatever it's been, and we've sort of been in and out of that thing as well. And the last time we were in it, it went very fucking horrible for us. So baby steps. Let's get out of the table phase. It would be great if we could finish in one of the top 8 spots, so we don't have to play a playoff game. And then we get to the round of 16 sort of thing. We win that tie, and then we go from there. And see who is our opponent, and see if we can fucking win it. But it depends who it is. I mean, like, we win the first round, and we go into like the quarters, and we're playing like, I don't know, fucking PSG. Like, it's gonna be it's gonna be really, really tough. Like, and if we get knocked out by PSG, it is what it is. Like, they will probably be far ahead of us. So, or Bayern Munich. When the window opens, start getting some midfielders before concentrating on other positions. Well, I think that's what we're doing anyway. We're gonna be going for the midfield, and if PSG wins Champions League, I hope they aren't going to be the first game. Well, I do think they'll win, and listen, if they give us PSG, it is what it is, bro. We're gonna have to handle it. We asked to be in this competition, and so we're in the competition, and whatever's thrown our way, we gotta go fight. And if we lose, we lose. But that makes us better in a way as well. I mean, we gotta be playing these teams. We need to see our team play against teams like that. We need to see what we're actually made out of. Cruising by and just getting by, and getting an easy path and playing these easy teams, and sort of faking it till we make it doesn't really pay off in the end. So if we end up playing PSG at some point, so be it. Bring it on, and let's see what we got. Because sometimes you need a bit of a humbling as well. I mean, if we go against them and they smash us, like, we will be fucking humbled. And but I think it would be well needed at some point. So who would be your first choice to go in the squad? Ugarte and Xerxes, both simultaneously at the same time. Like, I don't know about the other players in the squad, because again, I don't know how much. The fact that we need the depth, okay, and the fact that we need to fill so many positions, I don't know how many players you can move on and get in. But for me, with the money we should have available, we should be able to get the midfielders and what other position. We should be able to move on Ugarte and Xerxes and get more money from them and replace them with other players. And then we got to see what we can do going from there. Because I don't know if, like if you want a new left back or a new right back or whatever, you want to get rid of some of the players that we have. I mean, we could probably get some money for them, but at that point, it's like, we're not going to get enough money. At some point, we'll run out, because it's not like we're going to end up selling somebody. Like, if you want a new right back and you want Delo gone, we're only going to get so much for Delo. And the new guy you want is probably going to cost like 60 million or some shit. So at some point, we'll run out of money where we can't add any more money. So we're going to have to make some concessions somewhere at some point. But the midfield can't be one of them, for sure. And, in one of these positions, whether it's a winger or a left back, we can't make a concession there either, because we need that player. So, I don't know. Dorgo came on today. He played in wing again after being out. I don't know if that's a temporary thing for this season, and, because it could be, because we don't really have the options for that position. So this could be some sort of a temporary fix where we say for this season, we're using him there because we need to sort of plug a hole. And then in the transfer window, we'll address it properly and get like an actual proper left winger and use him. And then Dorga will go back to playing left back and battling it out with Shaw because Shaw is not going anywhere. And that's about it then. And, I even look at the right back and I don't see how we do something there. And it's going to be Delo and Mazawari. So I don't see us getting a player there. I don't see it happening. 3 games left, and no doubt we will lose to Brighton when Welbeck scores again. No, we won't. We won't lose to Brighton. Despite his clanger today, I still rate Lemons as the best signing we have. Well, listen, he's done very well, so. And shit happens, and like I said, it was a very, very bad mistake. Can't happen again. He knows he fucked up. And, his teammates, he didn't do he did a disservice to his teammates, but his teammates helped him out, okay? Because we still performed particularly well for large parts of the game. We managed to score 3 goals. Kobe Mainoo bailed them out a bit as well. So, it didn't, at the end of the day, it almost costed us. It didn't cost us. We could sweep it under the rug a little bit. It hasn't been, he hasn't made a mistake like that all season. So, a one-off type of thing. It is what it is, bro. Like, I'm not going to get too fussed over it. Just make sure it doesn't happen again. You know what I mean? If he does it again, then it's a bigger issue and a bigger problem. And it needs more criticism to it. But shit happens. But, we can't allow those things. And, even the first one, Diallo can't be doing shit like that either. So, the only difference is that Diallo hasn't had a great season. So it's a little bit worse from Diallo's end because Sene is new. He came in. He's had a really good impact on the team since he's come, and he's been really good. He made sort of a big fuck up today, but Diallo hasn't had a great season, and he came in and he instantly made a big fuck up as well and gave them a goal. So it's a little bit worse for Diallo, context wise. Hypothetically speaking, what would be the maximum amount you would spend on a player? Probably like 100 mil. Probably 100 mil. For right now, for the situation that we're in, and what we're facing, I think the most you could do is 100 mil. And and if you're doing 100 mil, it's got to be for the right player. Like, when Declan Rice went for 100 mil, and he sort of proved that he's worth that money through his performances for Arsenal and the way he repaid that. It's got to be for somebody like that. I don't think we can really spend over that. We can't really spend over that. And I would be a little bit cautious to do that anyway, because there are a bunch of different options. And, if you could get a guy for 80 instead of 100, and you weigh up the pros and cons to that, and maybe that extra 20 million allows you to get, another player somewhere with a bit better quality, like, so I don't think we could spend more than 100. And I think 100 is pushing it. I think 100 is like you're pushing it to the ceiling, like you're hitting the ceiling. So, because we're not in the position to do such a thing. We'll run out of money very quickly, and we'll be short. We won't be able to hit all the positions that are needed. So. Lucky, I don't know. What do you mean Lemons had a shit performance, bro? Shit performance how? So because he made that one mistake, the entire performance was shit. I disagree. You're saying the entire performance was shit because he did a really bad mistake and gave them a goal. I disagree. I think we can definitely say goodbye to Onana. I mean, I already said goodbye to him as soon as we loaned him out and we were getting a new goalkeeper. So even if even if Lemons wasn't good, there's no way Onana was ever coming back. So and Binder, I wonder how much we would sell them combined. Not a lot. Not a lot. Binder's probably gonna go for like 10 mil if he goes, and Onana probably around the same, like 15 mil at most. I would say probably. City would probably pay 100 mil for Anderson. I think City would pay 125 million for Anderson. I still think Arsenal can bottle the league. City will lose the gap again. City will close the gap again. There's always a chance. Why not? Still right there. I knew we wouldn't keep a clean sheet. Liverpool had to score. Well, we would have kept a clean sheet. We gave them the goals. You know what I mean? We gave them the goals. If we didn't give them the goals, they weren't going to score. I mean, they weren't even that good at all. Especially the first half. They were like they weren't even alive in the first half. Um, you know, that they scored too because of us. So they didn't even really earn it. No, we gifted it to them. So if it wasn't for us, they wouldn't even scored. We would have kept the clean sheet. But I guess it is a bit of magic of the derby that weird shit happens, crazy shit happens. Then goals happen, and I did talk about the trends, and like we didn't keep a clean sheet the 4 last times we played them, and now it's 5, and it sort of continued with our form in that 6 out of the 7 last matches before this game, both teams have scored, and 6 out of the 7 last matches that we played before this match, there was at least 3 goals in the match. So those all followed suit. In the past, United always blew a 2-0 lead, and I thought it would happen again. Well, we haven't really done that though. That's the thing. Like that's what I was trying to say. Like we haven't been annihilating teams. We haven't been 100% dominating and battering the shit out of them. But what Carrick has been able to do is do what Ruben was struggling to do, and even Ten Hag was struggling to do, in that when you don't play particularly well, or maybe it's very scrappy, okay, and you get into a position like we did today. We've done this already a few times under Michael Carrick. So it wasn't like it was a one-off thing. We've been in situations where maybe we went down and we should be in the lead, and we either tie it up or we find a winner. And maybe we didn't play like, so amazing that like we're speechless, but we have been able to figure out and get answers in the match. And we did it again today. We were up 2-0. We shouldn't have blown the 2-0 lead. We should have gotten a third. We could have probably even gotten a fourth with the chances that we had. We didn't do such a thing. We gifted them 2 goals. We allowed them back into the game. It got a bit dangerous because they almost scored a third, which would have been really bad for us. It didn't happen, and then we ended up coming back and getting the third goal that we should have got before we gave up 2. We've done this a few times. So, he has gotten that element into the team. So I do feel like that sort of, I didn't really, like when we gave up the 2 goals, I didn't really feel that feeling that like we had in the past when we did it, that we're going to go on to lose this game, because we haven't been doing that under Michael Carrick. Also, we also had the stat that we haven't lost a game at Old Trafford since like I don't know when it was, like 1970 something. Um, where we go into halftime leading. We have never lost a game. So we had that back in us as well. Ungarte, Diego, Delo, Xerxes, get out of here. Yeah, but Delo's not going anywhere. Like, you can ask for him to go, and I don't really care. I'm not saying he should stay. I'm just being realistic with you. He's not. Delo's not going anywhere. He's not. We're not going to get it right back. It's just, I don't see it. I mean, they could surprise me, but I just don't see it. I don't see how it gets done. So it's going to be one of those areas that we're going to have to make a concession, and we're just going to have to continue on with what we got for the next season at the very least, and then maybe we can address it, late at a later period. But for this summer window, I just don't see it, and I don't see many. I don't see how many players leave anyway. I think you could do Xerxes, you could do Agarte, but beyond that, I don't even see how anybody else really leaves. Besides, obviously, like Onana, but they're not really. I don't count them as part of the squad being there. But he's a backup goalkeeper. It's not really that important because we have Lemons. Rashford is not really. I don't consider him part of our team anymore, even though he's still contracted to us. But I'm talking about the players that we're using right now, like in our team this season. Like Mount's not leaving. Nobody else is leaving. Like nobody's going. Shaw's not going to be sold. Nobody from the back line is going to be sold. We got Cass leaving on a free. That's about it. So nobody else is nothing else is happening. A lot of Scouts fans will be taking days off work to avoid their United colleagues. Did they do that? Or did they take off of work because they're about to go get absolutely, well, they're probably already smashed, but they're going to go drink their sorrows away and then not go to work? You want the club to grow a pair of bulls, sell rejects, get Premier League approval. Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's what they should do. But I think it's I don't know if it's necessarily like, I wouldn't say that they're afraid to do it. I just think that it's two different trains of thought in that we're looking at them and we're saying, well, we can get players that can give us more in those positions and we need more. And we could get a player that gives us more than Xerxes, and we could get a player that gives us more than Ugarte. But then when you do look at it, you do have a decision to make and say, well, can we actually do that? Do we have the means to do it? Financially, with everything else we got to do, that we have to add. Can we do that financially and be able to replace them? Because at some point it comes into a question of, it becomes a numbers game. We're going to need a certain amount of players for the depth. So I think the bigger issue is, will we have the amount of money available to make the maneuvers we need to make? Or are we going to hit a wall at some point where they say, listen, we could probably move Xerxes on and get somebody else, but we don't really have the cash to go and get the player that would give us more than Xerxes to replace him, and we need 25 players. So he's going to have to stay for next season, or any of these other guys. Like if you want Shaw gone, but Shaw's not going anywhere. If you want Delo gone, it's the same thing. Like we already need, at the very minimum, 2 midfielders, some sort of a winger, and a couple other positions. In my opinion, we need 3 midfielders because we need to sell Ugarte. So we got to sign 3 midfielders and another player. Yeah. And after you spend that money, how do you get rid of Delo to go get a better right back? And how do you get rid of Xerxes to get a better, I don't know, second striker or whatever? Having Bienda there is enough to get anybody's backup. I wonder if Casemiro will play in the next game. Why wouldn't he? He's going to play every game to the end of the season. I don't think Ugarte will feature in many more matches for us. He shouldn't. I mean, he's not anyway. Another striker would be lovely. Yeah, if we could do it. I don't know. It's just like it's hard to do. Like I know what we need, but at some point, again, it's just a numbers game. Like we will hit some sort of a wall. We can't do everything. So it's like, are we gonna have the space to be able to do such a thing? I'm not really sure. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to be totally surprised because I could see how we could get to a point where we're stuck in terms of we can't really make any more moves. Yeah, I know we're getting money for Rasmus Højlund, but the players that we're going to buy are going to cost us quite a good amount of money. So I know all the money that's coming into the club. We're going to have around 200, 250 million to spend, most likely. But one of the midfield signings is going to be at least around 80 million. The other one is probably going to be at least 60 million. That's already half the budget gone on 2 players. So who have we got in the next match? I don't know. Good question. Sunderland away. We're at the Stadium of Light. That's going to be a tough match. But he's not. He's not coming back. Come back. We're gonna sell him. Rashford is not coming back. He shouldn't come back, and I don't want him back. But I don't believe he will. He will come back. That chapter is closed. Chapter is closed. So, all right, guys. I am gonna get out of here though because we've been live for almost about 3 hours now. So we will be back tomorrow. I'm expecting a high news day. Probably loads of transfer stories and stuff like that. Now that it's confirmed 100%, that we are back in the Champions League and we just beat Liverpool, obviously. So I expect that there's going to be a shit ton of news tomorrow. So there's probably a lot of transfer rumors as well. So we'll get into that. I'll be discussing that, and we'll sort of do the aftermath as well. We'll touch a little bit on the aftermath. We'll give 24 hours to sort of soak in, take it all in, and we'll come back refreshed. And we'll go from there. So 8:15 p.m. as we are always usually live tomorrow, and then we'll figure out the rest of the week as we go. Sunderland will be tricky. They will be. Marcus Rashford wants a club like Bayern Munich. Well, that's fine, but they got to buy him. So things need to materialize first. I don't count the chickens before the eggs hatch. So we'll see, because we've been here many times before. We plan out the whole summer before it even starts, and then it changes very quickly, and shit falls apart, and things go in a completely different direction than we assumed. So we'll see what happens. We gotta see what happens. Gotta see what happens. But we'll find out more in about a couple weeks from now, once the season actually ends. and it's over, and we get close to the window opening. What day does the transfer window actually open? What is the actual date? Transfer window. Summer. Soccer. Yeah, what day is it? Premier League opens June 15th and closes Monday, August 31st. So, I mean, June 15th probably coincides right with the World Cup, does it not? The World Cup starts on what, the 20th or some shit? No, and it starts before June 11th. So the window is opening after the World Cup has already started. So it's gonna be a bit of that's gonna be a bit of a problem. Yeah, and we have to remember that as well. Like there is a World Cup, so and the World Cup, the final goes all the way to July 19th. The quarterfinals is July 9th. The round of 16 is July 4th. So, the window opens June 15th. It's going to be hard to do business up until maybe, mid-June, mid-July for certain targets and certain players. The ones that are partaking. They're going to be quite unavailable. So, but obviously, then we just have to do what we can on the ones that aren't partaking and are available. So we'll see. They're They're not getting your transfer, bro. Your transfers are unrealistic. And not based. Plenty of time to focus on one specific player again. Well, I don't think we should though. I mean, like the Baleba thing, like shouldn't really take us that long. I mean, the personal terms are already agreed. We just have to negotiate with Brighton if we're gonna go get him. Which I mean, we've sort of been dealing with this for like about a year now, so it's something that shouldn't take too long if we're gonna make that move. Hopefully, we should have 3 players signed by the time the World Cup reaches the latter stage. Well, I don't know. I mean, with all the targets that we have, I think most of them are going to be involved in the World Cup. So I don't know how we sign actually 3 targets by the time we reach that. I do think that we can maybe get 1 while the World Cup is going on. Maybe. Maybe we try to get 1 before the World Cup actually starts. I don't know how we do it while it's ongoing. I think it's a bit difficult to do such a thing. So I don't know. I mean, we got to see how it goes. I mean, listen, if it's generally quiet all around, and it's not just an us thing, and all the other clubs aren't really doing much either. I mean, it's a direct impact of the World Cup, so you'll pretty much see a lot of the motion for all of the teams. Basically, once the World Cup ends, or once it's like very late, once most of the teams are kicked out, and maybe it's like the semifinals or the finals itself, and then you'll see a lot of motion going. And maybe that's what we got to do. And then we got to wait a little bit, but once that time comes, then we got to start moving fast, because from mid-July to basically mid-August, we have a month. So maybe we're going to have to do a lot of signings quickly in a month period. And that's something that we're going to have to do, and other clubs are going to have to do as well. So. Alex Scott, agent looking to speak to once season coming in. Well, those are deals that you could probably do, because they're not going to be. I don't think they'll be involved in the World Cup, but then you have to also make the decision on, well, who is your priority transfers? And you got to make those deals and pay the fees that leaves you the money to then go back and do your number one target later on. So, you know, because obviously you would like to do it in the order of get your number one target and go down the list. Sometimes it doesn't work like that, but sometimes you can't really go and get the surplus player before you get your main guy, because you need to pay the money for the main guy first, and then you got to see what's left over after you get the main guy and see what you can afford. So if you do it the other way, you might end up with, not enough money to get your main target. So if Baleba doesn't come, then get Warden or Chouameni. Well, Warden is could potentially go to Liverpool, so I think they've opened negotiations with him. So Rogers is having a bad game for Villa tonight. Well, he might leave too, but he's going to cost at least 100 mil. So, but I am going to go, all right, guys, because I'm starving. I need to go eat. I got to get some things done. So if you guys are around tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you, sometime later on in the week, all right? Good win. GGMU. Glazes out. Everybody be good. Stay safe. Have a good evening or good night or good morning, wherever you're watching. If you hit the like button, thank you. If you didn't, please do so on the way out. If you're new and you subscribed and you enjoy the content, thank you and welcome. And we'll see you on the next time. Thinking of buying players is buying a car. We want class, not old bangers. Yes. Have a good bank holiday Monday. You too. We don't have it, but I know you guys have it, so have a good bank holiday. But we'll be live tomorrow. So, and bon appetit, says Axe. Thank you. All right, I'll see you guys later. All right, be good.